Uncovered Cinema Podcast Episode 32, The Suicide Squad, on HBO Max.
Rocket launchers and hide them until the right moment when America leaves, and to coordinate the effort that it required to take over a country, essentially. And on top of that, they have a PR campaign that's coming out about right now where people are like, they're doing interviews with Taliban press people. That's pretty amazing. And they're doing it all with somehow coordinating all this while being suppressed for the last 20 years.
You have to remember that they were a government prior to being taken out of power. They did know how to run things. It's not like they were a small organization by any regards. They were a very big organization, and they had a lot of roots and a lot of family run deep in that country, you know?
Yeah. And just like American politicians, they're already often lying about their new government. When they were interviewing them this morning on CNN, they were saying, well, what do you think about women going to university? And the guy's like, we think it's okay. We'll allow it. I'm like, bullshit. You wanted to strike her dead right now. The imaginary woman they were talking about. And it's obviously not going to. Well, the point is right now is whether America is going to recognize them as a valid coup, or what, or they're just going to stay quiet.
They are, as of right now, the treaty's been signed, everything's been done. They are the legitimate Afghanistan government as of right now. Now, should they be acknowledged as such? I don't know. Their future actions are really going to dictate that, because you have to look at everything they've done in the past. The way they fight their wars, the way they handle their aggression. They're very passive aggressive, right? They want everything to be done from the shadows while they're out in the front looking like the best people in the world. Oh, we want this, that, the other. We want girls to go to school. As long as they abide by Sharia law, they can do whatever self-expression they want. Basically, as long as they're within a group of girls alone in a house with no men around, they can talk about and do whatever they want. Yeah. But that's it. Like, they can't go anywhere. They can't vote. They can't... Their pictures all around Kabul city is already being painted over. Like, you have to understand that this country is now going into the Stone Age right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But if the country is actually willing to allow us to withdraw the Allied troops, not just American troops, but it's Allied troops. So there's other countries there. There's the English there. There's the Aussies there. There are other countries still in there as well. So them allowing us to withdraw safely might be a cover for a future attack, or it could be them offering the olive branch, you know. But based off their past actions, I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably a no.
Yeah,
I think you got it right. It's just a veil to kick everybody else out so that they can start their tyranny. And suppress it in a way that other people won't be able to see. And
exactly, because
I think it's kind of our it seems to be, as of today, our stance is, hey, player's gonna play, hate is gonna hate. Like, let them do what they're gonna do, and which is kind of a slap in the face, because we've spent 20 years holding the fort down, and it was taken away from us in like 2 days.
Well,
but there's just, but then at the same time, it's like you got to let them do their thing, because they are, but not at the expense of what the way we're seeing on news and everything, and the way things are happening. And obviously, there's tyranny and going to be people that are fearing for their lives from the fact that we're seeing families literally holding onto the wheels of American naval or military planes as they're taking off, and literally falling from the sky to their deaths because they want to get out of the country so bad. It's like World War Z. But I never thought I would see that in real life. Where they storm the airport and there's people literally just trying to climb the airplanes, which it's surreal when you're seeing something that's made for Hollywood happen in real life.
Yeah. And you have to think about the reason they're allowing us to leave. And it's so strategically invaluable, right? Because like you said, with them allowing us to leave, now they're not being the aggressors in any attack. And if they do attack us, like let's say they hire one of their previously funded terrorist organization groups that wasn't part of the Taliban, that was funded by the Taliban, to do attacks on their behalf, and the money's not traceable back to them, because, at what point in time do we have to think that their drug money, because what's it going to be used for, right? Now they have the income of the entire country, but they're still saying they're going to sell drugs. Why?
Yep.
Why do you want untraceable cash? What's the point?
Well, it's the same playbook you see play out in all these different countries. We just talked about it a couple of weeks ago in the movie that was coming out with the Cannes Festival in Hong Kong, and how they're trying to suppress their government and kick out the media so that other countries can't see the things that are happening and the ways that they torture. They control the internet. They control everything that goes on so that other countries can't see what's happening. And North Korea has been doing the same for decades, except they're just really bad at hiding it, even though they say it's all about, humanity and peace and for their government. But really, we know there's labor camps and that kind of stuff going on there. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because at this point, I just feel like, I think a lot of Americans feel that way too. We're just observers or passive observers, because our president has taken that stance that we're just going to watch and see what happens.
Yeah. As a Afghan war veteran myself, someone who actually had boots on ground in country, who saw the difference we were making to the lives of the individual civilians, it's heartbreaking. But at the same time, what else are you going to do? Right? Like Leia, for instance, she was sick. My little baby, my bloodhound, she was sick for a couple of weeks. She had pancreatitis, right? I took her to the veterinarian. I did everything that they told me to do. I bought the food, the special food. I gave her the special medicine, everything, right? But she wasn't getting better. She wasn't eating. She wasn't drinking. Even though I had food out for her and I had water out for her, she didn't want to. It wasn't until she was dang near starving that she forced herself to drink. And in doing so, now she's starting to feel a lot better. But that's with Afghanistan. Yeah, the withdrawal was not handled anywhere near good, in my opinion. Should we have kept more soldiers in a little bit longer to get our civilians out? Absolutely. But at the same time, how much longer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. Eventually they have to take care of it and do something and decide the way they want their government run. But then we come into like the question of like, if something bad is happening, ultimate superhero complex, right? If you know something bad is happening, do you have an obligation to do something about it? Or do you just turn away and walk away from the dark alley where someone's purse is being taken away from them? I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting watching the Pentagon do all these press releases right now, because they're interviewing like, generals and like really high up colonels and stuff. And the great thing is like these military people, they're not politicians and they're not press people. And you have to think like they have top secret clearance or whatever clearance is above top secret clearance that we don't know about yet. And they know everything that's going on, but they can't say anything. So there are people asking them questions and they're just like, I can't answer that. No, I'm not going to deal with that. No. Next question. Yeah, not at liberty to say anything about that. It's like nothing happened in this press interviews. They're just asking these guys over and over, and they're just like, it's just so nice to have that luxury to not, appease the press and have a public figure, because they're just like, nope, I'm not at liberty to say like, that. It's so great.
Like, I'm not going to deal with you right now. No,
or my favorite is I don't know, But they know everything. They know like the highest clearances. It's hard for me to know what's going on, 5,000 miles away. You have every damn satellite pointed at what's going on right now, especially if it's our men on the ground. They're watching. They know what's going on. They just can't talk.
They know every little bit about what's going on. But in their regard, I mean, what do you want them to do? I mean, we're sending 9,000 troops in to secure our airport so we can get 80,000 civilians out. That's 80,000 civilians, man. There's only
something's
much.
Wrong when you start a new government and everybody in the country wants to leave. That's already a bad sign.
Right? But it's even worse when everybody, like the people in the country, they want to leave now, but were they the same people helping out the Taliban hide and do stuff because they were scared of them the entire time? It's like, well, there's a reason that the Taliban were able to take that much ground so quickly. There's a reason that the ANA were turncoats so quickly. They believed in their vision. They're men in the Afghan society, and they believed in men ruling and women sucking.
But I think also they're under the pressure of, like, for example, today's movie, antagonist turns protagonist turns antagonist. Classic anti-hero movie, but would you work on the Suicide Squad if there was under threat of killing your whole family? I mean, I might help the Taliban if they were going to chop the fingers off of my kids.
Yeah, and that's it. That's a fair point, because that was some of the, the threats that were being angled. They kidnap a kid, right? And they say, hey, do this stuff for us or we're going to kill your kid. Like, pay us money or join the Taliban, whatever it is, right? And they would have little option. It's either, do they have the money to pay? Probably not. Are they going to join the Taliban? Probably not. So what are they going to do? Kill them? I'm like,
yeah. We'll hopefully be reporting back better news in the following weeks to come, and it'll definitely be interesting to see how this plays out. I know both of us having our issues, we're easily triggered with things like this, so fingers crossed that the show will be here next week and we don't have to take another break while we get our mental facilities back together. But
that'll be fine.
Yeah, we're stronger now. We're on the right meds.
Oh yes, definitely. The VA got me covered. Oh, yeah.
Awkward seg into the intro, but what's going on, guys? Welcome to this episode of Uncovered Cinema. I'm Brian.
And I'm Will. We usually don't cover such heavy topics, like, ever. If it's not related to film, we usually don't talk about it.
Yes, and today we're going to be talking about the Suicide Squad. Very confusing because the original one was Suicide Squad. What the worst naming of a second of a movie I've ever had, because I've been getting into arguments with my kids. We're going to watch Suicide Squad. Oh, are we going to watch the new Suicide Squad? Old Suicide Squad. We're going to watch the Suicide Squad. Oh, which Suicide Squad is that? I don't know. It's the second one has the in front of it. Everything else is the same.
Well, you gotta remember, you gotta think about it. Margot Robbie, right? She is just
Harley Quinn. Right.
Yeah, she's Harley Quinn, and she is a very, very, very good actress. If they had to reset Suicide Squad, they would have had to cut her out. So it would make a lot more sense to just make the sequel of Suicide Squad. And instead of making something where if you're going to, SEO wise, if you're going to look up Suicide Squad, you're probably going to look up the Suicide Squad, right?
SEO, search engine optimization, doesn't, it's a bad name. Make a better second name. Put a 2 in front of it or something, or I don't know, the new Suicide Squad. There you go. That would have been so much a better distinction. Anyways, we're breaking that movie down today.
Yeah, that's just a name that you choose when you want to forget the first one.
True. Yeah, and thank God Joker wasn't in this one. They killed him off appropriately in the last one. And sometimes the villains rise from the fire at like a phoenix, but in this case they just left him dead. I'm happy that Jared Leto is not in this. He was one of the worst Jokers he was a Joker to be the Joker.
Yeah,
and
the worst Joker.
Yeah, and you can't put him in this world. He doesn't.
No.
any Joker doesn't fit. You couldn't put Joaquin Phoenix. He's too intense to be in this kind of movie. But
no, yeah, I think they did a really good choice running with Harley Quinn as the what's the word I'm looking for? Title runner?
Yeah. Well, I would say that Bloodsport would be, in my opinion, which would be Elba. What's his name? Let me try that again.
Elba.
Idris Elba, amazing actor, super intense.
Dude, he's so talented.
A lot of intense moments in the movie, and he's the kind of actor where you just forget he's acting. You get caught up in what he's doing, and how he's. Dude, there's really intense scenes there, like with him and his daughter. They're both screaming at each other through this glass. And I thought it was captured so well. And it was like she had to come at the same intensity he was. And he's a seasoned actor and been in a lot of great things, a lot of suspense in intense movies. And he was able, that girl was able to hold, the daughter was able to hold face with him in those scenes and just bring back that intensity when they were fighting, which I thought was so awesome.
All right, but before we get into breaking down the movie like we normally do and doing all the fun stuff that you come to Uncovered Cinema for, obviously, we are going to give you guys some information off the previous episode. Okay, so...
Oh, yeah, we got a recap.
Yeah, we have a recap for you. So if you guys haven't watched last week, we watched Space Jam 1 and 2, A New Legacy, and did a comparison of the two. All right?
And which ended brutally with us tearing apart LeBron James because of his lack of effort, and Michael Jordan in his awesome effort, as we know him as.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just crazy. The vast difference between the effort of these two professional athletes. Neither one of them are professional actors. Neither one of them is trying to say they're a professional actor, right? But the amount of effort that these two athletes put in is so vastly different. So vastly different. And LeBron James, if you guys want to hear more, go check out that episode. It's last week's episode, Uncovered Cinema, LeBron James, episode 31. But not only did LeBron James barely even play basketball in a basketball movie in which he plays it as a professional sport, gets paid to do.
Oh, they didn't pay him enough to play basketball.
A stunt double.
Come on. He didn't do any of the work. Man. It was all stunt double.
Like, come on. They hired the stunt double because, and I quote, he brings acting to the role.
Wait,
basically,
the basketball
LeBron James
player brings acting to the role, and the stunt double does the basketball playing. Huh.
No, the stunt double brings acting to the role.
Oh,
basically,
from behind?
Basically,
or you can't obviously show his face if he's the stunt double.
That's not the point, though. Think about when LeBron James was actually doing any basketball moves that looked really cool. Did you ever see his face? Besides his signature one move that he does?
Well, yeah, no.
Exactly. LeBron James knows how to play basketball professionally, like really, really well. But I bet you he doesn't know how to make it look really, really good.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I moved to Hollywood and to become an actor, but when I show up, I just bring my stunt double because he brings acting to the role of acting.
I know. Why did they just hire this stunt double? Well, I guess they needed facial recognition.
They need to get a name. Yeah.
Oh,
the brand.
Man, that's so sad.
Bring the Braun brand.
That's so sad. Oh, and just a little small thing. The original director of that film actually left it over, and I quote, creative differences.
Because of the fact that it was a whole commercial.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. But all right, and we're moving on. Moving is where we're going. Old news is in the past. If you guys want to check that out, it's Uncovered Cinema, episode 31, Space Jam comparison.
Yes, and today we're talking The Suicide Squad, not to be confused with Suicide Squad.
Yeah, not to be confused with Suicide Squad, the 2000 crappy 16, what was it, 2016, 2018 movie? God, it doesn't even matter. It was just so bad that it was just 2016. Yeah, it was just so bad that it's not even worth remembering.
Before we dive into it, let's get into a recap of what happened in The Suicide Squad. Pretty much everything the same that happened in Suicide Squad. There's another. Basically, we've come what seems like maybe a few months or possibly a few years after the initiation of this, operation program that they bring prisoners with superhero abilities into the real world to fight missions for the good of humanity. But it's all done under the guise of Weller is her name. She's a bitch. Let's just face it. She's a bitch, and she's the one that runs this program. So they do everything she says, and if they don't, it's under threat of death. They'll blow her up, blow up the people, and they don't know anything about these missions. And it's all of it's so important to save the world, but really, as in both times that's happened, there's a secret agenda that happens. Yeah, Amanda Weller, that secret agenda that is really just to benefit this faction that runs this organization. And there's a few new characters, a few creative characters, probably some better actor choices in this second version. Definitely better if you're not counting Jared Leto, of course. But pretty much everything the same happens, in my opinion. It's just a copy, as is most, I'd say 80% of the number 2 in a series of any movies. The big wigs at whatever studio that create them decide, well, if that model worked great the first time, let's do it again at the same time. To the point, my example would be The Hangover, where that trio of people that were in the movie didn't even account for that the one character that was getting married, who was stuck on the roof in the first one. He wasn't in any of the other two. He just disappears because that's the method that works. And so they just copy and paste it over and over again. But, we're coming into post-pandemic world, so anything that distracts us from the Taliban taking over Afghanistan or the fact that Delta variant is almost as worse as the original COVID. Yeah. And people are dying, and you're reading in the paper that all the pediatric beds are taken up in Texas. So you literally have to wait for a child to die for your child to be taken care of. It's a great opportunity to get away from the world and just enjoy something fun for a few hours.
Yeah. See, this movie, in my opinion, right. I
turned into Edgar Allan Poe over here. Fuck.
Huh?
Sorry. Go ahead. I just went around a real dark rabbit hole, but go ahead. Sorry. You have to cut that out.
No, I feel a little bit differently about the film, right? So visually speaking, this film is unmatched, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We'll get into that later.
Visually,
story-wise, though, it's just, I agree, it's meh. It kind of feels like, and this is what I feel, maybe this is what in the pitch meeting for Suicide Squad, the producer is just like, look, we have a script, it sucks. This is the best we can do. This is the writer, whatever. This is it. Just, you can't be worse than the first. Don't fuck it up. Here, have at it. And the dude's like, all right, let me get a DP and a colorist and editor alike, and let's have some fun. That to me is what it felt like here.
Very great description. The names behind the movie, James Gunn directed. Zack Snyder was in it. They produced it. They director of Superman. Awesome, great names behind it. The Elba character, Bloodsport, awesome actor.
Yeah, God, he is.
Margot Robbie,
He's
awesome
a legend.
actress. But yeah, it was a visual spectacle. I mean, we're talking the protagonist. I'm sorry, the antagonist of this film is a 200-foot starfish. How menacing is that? You know.
Well, I mean, a 200-foot starfish that takes over your body and controls your, controls you by sticking a starfish on your face. Like I
think
said,
there was a Rick and Morty that came out like a few weeks ago that has the same exact plot. And they did it with so many less superheroes. It was just Rick and Morty.
Yeah, like I said, they had a really bad script and did what they could.
Visually, yeah, it was amazing. And one of the cool things about this film was that because there were big names behind it, they got the budget they wanted. And one of the things that was important for them, which was that it was not all green screened, because it's cheap to green screen things relatively. So what they did in this case was build very large, big sets. Almost everything was filmed on a set. So this gave so much more creativity to the DP filming it. They're able to move in a real environment. They're able to utilize, foreground, background, and make changes on the fly because they're in a room and it's not, planned out on a 3D green screen, computer generated BS that we see all the time. This was all like sets, which I think was pretty amazing that they were able to build such large sets, because you just don't see that being done anymore because of the expense.
Yeah. Usually if they would have done this film on a green screen like they did the first one, it would have gone down the same route as the first one. There's not enough killing and explosions that is going to make us be happy because it's just green screen. It's fake. It's boring. Right. But since they did everything practical, right, it was
different feel. Gives such a different feel. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, there wasn't a single time in this entire film that I was watching it that I was grossed out or like taken aback. This entire time I was enjoying the murder. Even though that sounds a little weird, I was enjoying the visuals of the film so much that it didn't matter how terrible the story was. It didn't matter how hollow these characters were, because I was getting my fulfillment for entertainment in a visual way instead of intellectual way.
Yeah. And they did try to provide 30 seconds of backstory to each character and almost a comedic way, because it was so poorly done. Like, you have no attachment to these characters, and there's so many of them. I think there's 7 or so, but it's impossible to provide backstory to all these characters. So when they did dive into it, I was just like, my eyes glazed over a little bit, because it's like, I mean, do we need a backstory for a guy of polka dots? Like, just how much attention span am I going to have to the backstory with the guy who's made of polka dots?
I mean, everybody kind of wants to know is like, how do you throw polka dots? Like, why do you throw polka dots? Like, really?
The characters were weird.
Yeah,
we disagree.
But so was
like
enemy.
A weasel.
I liked him, and he is the new Chupacabra. Okay.
I will
Weasel
allow
for
it.
Life.
There was
Weasel for life.
You imagine the pitch meeting for this movie. Yeah, it's a weasel anti-hero, a man that throws polka dots, a
giant
and
shark,
they're fighting a giant starfish. Like, what? All right, DC, we'll put $100 million behind it, and this will be the best-selling movie.
Dude, they've already made $118 million off the film.
Yeah,
in the box office.
Go.
It's killing, and like, hell yeah, dude! I absolutely love it, and the fact that it's on HBO Max right in the beginning really makes it accessible.
I'm not a DC fan, though. Maybe that's where my pessimism comes from, because to me, it just feels like everything they do is a poor knockoff of Marvel. Like in this case, this felt like I know people. I'm going to get death letters, but this just felt like their version of Guardians of the Galaxy. Like they're putting this whole ensemble together and this crew, or maybe Deadpool 2, where they have this crew coming together, and there might be all these offshoots of stories that come out in the future. But
see, I think Warner Brothers and DC are trying to find a more realistic approach to their cinematic universe, because Marvel and Disney right now have a fantastical approach to their cinematical universe, right? Magic, superpowers, yada, yada, yada. Interdimensional jumpage and everything, right? I think they're trying to go more of the, like, in reality kind of thing. Like, yeah, it's feasible that you would find an alien that is a starfish floating in space. Where would you go with that? It's feasible that you would have another alien, since you have an alien with starfish, that you would have that orange girl alien as well. Yeah. It's feasible because, like, nobody has crazy superpowers. Everybody is, like, very vulnerable, right? Like, even the dude with the detached arms, as soon as he got shot, he was down on the ground crying his little eyes out because his arms were getting shot like, a lot. So
the second I saw Pete Davidson, I was like, how quick before they kill him? He lasted,
I know, dude. I was
like 2 minutes.
Man.
I'm like, no way. He's not going to stay in this movie for long. He's dead.
I love Pete Davidson because he, like, wants to die in movies in the best ways. And I just love that. I finally found an actor who's like, yo, kill me early, dude. Instead of like, I need all my, like, screen time and stuff so I can, like, and also I'm like, I need my name earlier than people too. So, you know, like, because it's all about me.
We also set the level of gore that's going to happen throughout this movie with Pete Davidson. He's the first one that gets his head blown off in such a gory way.
We set the level of gore even earlier than that. They hint at it even earlier. The little birdie. That little birdie was wrecked, dude. He was
that's true.
Gory as heck. When he threw the ball and it bounced and broke, it literally on my TV, I could see the wings and the neck of the bird like breaking and the blood spurting out. And I was like, ooh, the tone.
yeah. And then we spend the next 2 hours trying to show that these bad guys are good. We set the tone in the first 30 seconds, which was visually speaking, the beginning shot was so beautiful. How he pulled back from a puddle. I guess that is the symbolism, though, because we're trying to show that
the other side of the looking glass.
These villains have a good side to them. So we're seeing this reflection, and in showing that reflection, it's like showing us that there's a different perspective being revealed about these characters that we've already made assumptions about. But then he kills the bird.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but they make killing not such a big deal, like such a small deal in this film that you're not stuck on it at all, right? Every character in here kills a bunch of times, and yet you still love Ratcatcher 2. You still hope that the shark guy who ate the freedom fighter in the beginning without even asking a question and starts the whole damn thing finds true friendship and really finds himself at the end. I mean, they make these enemies and these bad guys that would typically be like, oh, they're the worst in the world. I'm glad they got beat, to like, aw, I hope they get their ass kicked, but in a nice way.
Which brings up the challenge of, like, for the audience member, from the perspective of the writer, how do we make killing and gore in this movie becomes so acceptable and established as a thing that we're going to watch for the next 2 hours, but at the same time we feel for certain characters, like the girl that was taking over, part of the coup in her village or in the country. We care for her, but we don't necessarily care for all the freedom fighters that were killed. You know, it's almost it's comedic almost because oops, we killed them all. That sucks. We just move on, you know, but we care about everyone else.
Yeah, and they really show that if you don't make something a big deal, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. That's a challenge as a writer, I guess.
They don't make killing a big deal at all. In the first, like I said, the first 30 seconds that bird gets killed, right away, we're shown that this is not a kid's movie. This is an adult. And they don't even talk about the bird.
Yeah.
It's something they don't acknowledge. Nothing. It just happened.
That character was played by Woody Harrelson, right? He is a little fucked up.
Yeah, he's played by Woody Harrelson, which is, he's just, that's another ace that they had up their sleeve. They had one of the best actors.
Well, the shark was played by Sylvester Stallone.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I thought it was Dave Bautista at first because he's known for like kind of those simple speaking role. That's his brand. That's his character. Mm-hmm. He's obviously not a simple person. He's, he's built such a life of fame, but Sylvester Stallone played that. And it was pretty cool. I didn't notice that till after I was watching the credits.
Yeah. I was looking through the IMDb after the second time. I was trying to figure out who he was, who voiced him. And I found Sylvester Stallone, and I was like, okay. Yeah, I remember. I can hear it now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Now that you pointed out.
One of the overall themes of this movie was kind of showing out the corruption that's so the tables kind of turn throughout the movie. We think that there's a bad guy, which as it should be with adult superhero movies. It's not always black and white who the good guy is and the bad guy is. For kids shows, we do that, yes, and it stays that way. But for adults, we would expect it, to be more complexity. And as such, with this movie, the bad guy becomes the good guy, and the bad guys we find out are actually good because they stand for something. But we see this the amount of corruption that's supposed to be in this American government, or this government that who knows what part of the organization they represent or they're from, which is that Waller runs, the Amanda Waller.
Yeah, she's in S.H.I.E.L.D. No,
that's Marvel.
It's,
you're switching universes, and people are gonna call you out on that, man.
Dude, I know, right? She is director or something.
Exactly. That's my point. So we see this corruption come out, and we find out that they're the bad guys. And the symbol of freedom, the Mr. Peace or whoever is plays by John Cena. He's supposed to be like the symbol of American peace,
Argus.
Right? And what is it?
Argus.
Does it say what it stands for?
What is ARGUS, which stands for Advanced Research Group Uniting Superhumans.
Oh, silly.
Yeah.
Anyways, the John Cena is supposed to be like the American symbol. He's basically Captain America if you were to equate it to Marvel. Mm-hmm. And we find out that he is part of this corruption as well. And he's there to hide the American secrets that were happened during, the probing of this extraterrestrial. And this awesome fight ensues, but it's through the reflection of his hat as we see the tables turn. And this hat is supposed to be like this symbol of American freedom that he wears. It's not really explained, but it's supposed to be like Captain America's shield. It's supposed to be a symbol of America and freedom. And as the tables turn and we find out it's
they make fun of
this American foundation is built on corruption, we see this fight play out in the reflection of his hat. And I thought it was so fitting, the symbolism that was being reflected off of this scene. It was so cool.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was a good fight scene. It was very visually appealing. And they proved in the film that I like the way John Cena was acting in the film. You know, he was such a goody two shoes, like anything for justice.
Yeah.
I'd eat a whole beach full of dicks for justice.
I would kill every woman, child, and man for justice.
Yeah,
great.
it's just like, oh God, dude.
Yeah, just take it
That's
down
like
a notch.
psychotic nationalism right there, you know?
Which is another like great like subtlety of the film that you kind of have to pluck out through thinking about it, but it's a nice complexity.
Yeah, it basically shows you that no matter what, you need to hold people accountable for their actions, right? It doesn't matter if it's the government. It doesn't matter who it is. If they do something wrong, they need to be held accountable for their actions. If you're a nationalist and you're psychotic, you're proved over and over and over again during the film that you're wrong, that you're not right. So
yeah, and even these psychotic killers know the difference between right and wrong. The people that are representing upper levels of government don't seem to care. And that was great scene where the Weller gets hit in the back of the head with a golf club, and the tables change because even her own staff won't follow her, and that's kind of when we find out she's the bad guy. Everyone thinks that the Starfish was, but Starfish just wanted to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, the Starfish just wanted to leave, dude. He's like, can I just like go now?
It's like, I was enjoying the view in space. I don't know why I'm a starfish in space, but I am. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Just leave me here.
Yeah. He was like, leave me alone, God. I feel so bad for the Starfish, dude. Like, he literally had nothing, or she, whatever. It literally had to do with nothing, and we pull it out of its natural habitat,
which is space, apparently.
Which is space. Hey, I'm not judging. Okay, we have people who live in McDonald's. Okay, if somebody wants to live in space, they can go ahead.
All
right.
They made the inside of a tank look so sexy.
They really did.
The red lights, there was green lights, these like incandescent lights that were behind him. Woo! It looked so good inside that tank when the car was driving. And one of the styles that I really liked was all the creative ways that they separated the chapters and played, the almost like it was just part of the scene. Like the fire would spell out words and it would be like, okay, we're on to Operation Harley. Like it was so cool that how they did that. My favorite one was the one on top of the buildings where it was like just trash almost. When we like see what looks like the top of the buildings of like Brazil or something, but I'm not really sure what country we were in.
Yeah, and then the camera pulls away and it the words change from whatever they were saying to something completely different.
Awesome.
And it was just such a beautiful shot. It's just, and that's how the entire film was. The entire film had these crazy good editings, and the color profile that they used, the colorist, whoever that they did it, really, really was able to work magic.
Yeah. Nice, strong, vivid colors. I have to
say.
What was that?
I have to say, the edits that this guy did, throwing the random flowers down that Harley scene where she's killing everybody. That's inspired. That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out why we saw that. How is this like her fairy tale? Killing is just her natural environment. Like sometimes people just dream that they're in like a different world and, the colors get vivid and we change scenes and they get snapped back to reality. For her, this is her dream world. She's in her natural state. And so this is vivid color for her. This is like little flowers and dainty things going there as she's slicing the heads off of enemies,
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Harley Quinn does have schizophrenia, which vivid hallucinations is a symptom of schizophrenia. I could be completely wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure she does.
Okay.
Or psychosis or something like that. And if that's the case, that could explain for that. And is just a really nice, beautiful look inside what she sees.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because like you said, it's like the blood flowing is just flowers instead. And it's just,
it's that peace.
It's that piece. I like it. I like what you say, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
No, it was definitely, if it was worth the watch, I would say definitely it's a great distraction from what's going on in the world right now. And there are aspects of people dealing with grief throughout the film. You know, like...
Okay, yeah, I was wrong about her medical. She has a personality disorder, specifically histrionic personality disorder. So I have no idea if vivid hallucinations is a side effect of that.
Huh.
Oh, they have people with that type of disorder have a overwhelming desire to be noticed and often behave dramatically or inappropriately to get attention, which
I think we both have that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it definitely fits with what she did, you know, and how she reacted when she found the team was coming to actually save her, because she felt noticed and she was like, oh, I can go in. I like this.
That was nice.
Attention's on me.
First time she felt loved.
Yeah.
She's got a
it was so
killer
great.
group of her own. Literally.
Mm-hmm. She finally has her own little murdering family.
Yeah. And the weasel lives at the end, so that's nice too.
The weasel's so cute. It's so adorable. Except if I see
It's
any of my kids, I will kill him.
Most disgusting thing I've ever seen. It's just gross.
Yes, I want him. I want a pet.
And then he's just licking the glass in the jail cell.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And he was like, huh? See, I think my next, if after my Bloodhound Leia, whenever she passes away in hopefully like 10 years or so, I'm not sure how long Bloodhounds live. She's 4.5, so
you're going to get a weasel.
I don't want to think about that. Anyways, no, I want to get a weasel would be nice, but I want to get oh man, I want to get a Scooby-Doo. What are they called? A freaking,
Great Dane?
Great Dane!
Yeah.
Yes! I want to get a Great Dane. Yeah. Yeah. I want a Great Dane. I want a big dude that can just walk and be like, yo.
Yeah.
What's up, bro? I'm like, sup,
I want
dude?
a dog I can ride.
And then he just...
Nice dog. You throw a saddle on the back and it takes you running.
Like, in the combat I go. Well, I stop.
On my Greyhound.
Doggy nose.
I suppose that could be a reality if you were a smaller person. Let your feet dangle.
It could be a reality. I mean, I could definitely see like my girlfriend riding a Great Dane in combat.
Yeah.
You know? See her on the back of the Dane going,
little feet dangling.
It's okay. We're going to get him.
Yeah, I think I see her coming in to hit you in the back of the head.
No, that's going to happen later.
Well, the Suicide Squad that came out this week. We have mixed feelings on it.
HBO
I think.
Max.
Yeah, HBO Max is where you can check it out right now. It is definitely worth watching, if not for the cinematic style, and just a fun getaway. It's kind of what we need right now in the world because every other channel just seems to be depressing. So, yeah, you can check that out.
Yeah,
HBO Max.
Yeah. Suicide Squad is a great time. I enjoyed it. It visually, I haven't felt this way after watching a film in a very long time. When I was doing like my research and I was doing my notes, I was trying to think about what film made me feel visually. I'm visually talking after watching it the way that this film did. And the only one that I could think of at that time was Speed Racer.
Oh, which is one of your favorite movies. So that's
one of my favorite movies
contender.
visually. I mean, the story of Speed Racer is but visually wise, it's a great movie. And I feel like that is this generation Speed Racer. Like the story is but visually wise and edited and shot, this movie definitely deserves some Oscar attention, at least.
Yeah, visually wise, when I think of that, The Boys comes to mind, which is also another superhero, anti-hero TV show. But yeah, the style's kind of the same. You get that vivid, kind of like overly gory, overly bloody kind of feel.
Yeah.
It was good though. Yeah. It's
yeah, it was good.
Mixed feelings.
Don't
We're
watch
kind
it
of
with
like,
your kids.
it's okay. It's worth watching. It's okay.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, it's good. Don't watch it with your kids. No.
No.
All right, guys. So for film of the week, I think this week I really have to bring up something that I watched a few days ago, and it just absolutely blew my damn mind. Do you remember that big fight in Detroit between the Pistons and the Trailblazers? Was it the Trailblazers?
Oh, yeah. That
Malice at the Palace.
Yeah. Is that a documentary?
Yeah, they just
I saw on Netflix. It's coming out.
Back in the day, these players, they started on court fight with the other team, which is fine. It happens all the time. Whatever. But the fans took it too far. Like when one of the players tried to separate himself from the fight, lay down, cool down, calm down, when the fans threw a full beer at that player.
Jeez.
That player that was just into a fight on the ground.
That sparked a fight between the player and the audience.
The fans.
And then that just broke out hell from there. Everyone starts getting... yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's all covered in such great detail in this new documentary that came out, Malice at the Palace Uncovered on Netflix. I highly suggest watching it if you know anything at all about this event or you like basketball at all. I highly suggest watching it.
I'm just curious, wondering how this would be presented. Is it just a series of perspectives of different people that saw it, or was there more to it than what you saw on the surface level? There was this whole backstory that gets explained throughout the film.
Yeah, there was a lot more to it.
Okay.
So what happened originally was only showed in little bits. The media took control of the situation and they showed the people, the fans and everybody else, only what they wanted them to see.
I see.
They didn't, out of all the footage that came out showing how much the players were actually defending themselves, the fans were all convinced, and everybody around the country was convinced that the players were the cause of the problem.
Yeah.
And so this goes into detail. It shows all the different security cam footages. It holds nothing back. It interviews police officers that were there. It interviews the players that were there. It interviews the specific fans that started the riot and started everything else. It interviews everybody.
Cool.
So it holds nothing back. You get the true, unfiltered story of what happened from the people that it happened to. And they all it's so great, so raw, so real.
Yeah, well, I could see how that would be interesting if you're a sports fan and knew of that incident. And I did see that one teased on Netflix right now. So Malice at the Palace is movie pick for this week. What are we breaking down next week? What's the talk so we can kind of let people soak it in and give them a chance to watch this?
Yeah, so next week we're actually going to be checking out Fear Street on Netflix.
Awesome. Fear Street. I think I started watching this one already. Amazing music to this. The story is good. There's a potential for a lot more, genres to come out of this one. If I'm correct, I think this is from R.L. Stine too. I think it's a series. So it's one of those ones, you can kind of really get into. It's got a little spooky vibe to it, and you can see the potential for all the different characters having their own stories.
Yeah, I'm very excited about watching this. I haven't seen any of them yet. I know I've been talking about wanting to watch them, so I'm very excited to see them all and then dive into them next week and tell you about our feelings and our frustrations with it, and see what we think. If you guys should check out that series, though.
Yeah, we're going back in time. We're starting Fear Street 1999, 1979, and 1666.
Ooh. I can't wait to see how far back they end up taking this series.
And the tracks are so appropriately matched. Awesome audio tracks for 1999. If you're our age, you'll like fall back into like high school days or earlier, I guess middle school, elementary school days. But yeah, there's definitely some flashback moments there with good music that plays throughout this movies.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so very excited. All right, dude. Well, we will catch you guys next time. If you guys want to follow us, it's at Uncovered Cinema on everything: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You gotta follow some guys with some TikToks.
Get the TikTok.
And we put audiograms out. We give you little teasers throughout the week of the different episodes. So if you guys want to follow us individually, I'm Will Hoover TV, and
I'm at BoardPro, BRDPRO, and I just came out with an audiobook that I narrated as well. It just got released today. So you can follow me online and check that out as well. If you like hearing this mug. Oh, wait, you can't see a mug. But if you like hearing his voice. And we also are getting ready to bring back live streaming. So make sure you follow on YouTube, Twitch. We're all on the different various places that you like to consume your media from. Mm-hmm. We will be there and we'll be streaming again, I would say probably within the next couple of weeks. So keep on the lookout for that.
Yeah. And if you guys have any suggestions for movies that you want us to uncover and you guys want us to break down, talk about, please let us know on our Reddit, r/UncoveredCinema, or let us know on our Instagram at UncoveredCinema. If you guys have any suggestions, anything like that, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Till then, we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening.
Yeah. Talk to you later. Bye.